Imagine paying thousands of dollars for a VIP table in Las Vegas, only to realize the star you came to see wasn't even real. That's exactly what went down when a Justin Bieber impersonator managed to trick one of the most famous nightclubs on the Strip. A packed house, flashing lights, champagne bottles, and then an entire crowd convinced they were watching Bieber himself. Except it wasn't. It was a man named Dylan Doss, and he's been building his life around this bizarre obsession for years. The night began like any other at XS, one of the most prestigious venues in the city. Whispers had already spread online that Bieber might make a surprise appearance. The kind of rumor that drives ticket sales and pushes bottle service tables into five-figure territory. People arrived with their phones ready, convinced they were about to get an intimate concert from one of the world's biggest stars. When the DJ announced him, the room erupted. A figure stepped onto the stage, tattoos gleaming under the lights, mic in hand, hair styled to perfection. For a few wild minutes, people believed it was really him. But if you looked closely, something was off. Bieber's frame has been lean in recent years, while the man on stage carried more bulk. His voice barely matched, and yet the tattoos, the swagger, even the way he moved across the stage carried just enough resemblance to keep people second-guessing themselves. Add in the fact that everyone had been primed with the idea of Bieber showing up, and the illusion became powerful. Some guests even admitted later that they thought Justin had just put on weight since the album dropped. The trick worked, not because Dylan looked identical, but because the hype had already primed people to see what they wanted to see. It wasn't a half-hearted stunt either. Dylan came prepared with an entire entourage: bodyguards, assistants, and hype men who played their parts flawlessly. Fans got hugs, autographs, and selfies. Security pushed through the crowd like they were clearing space for a true superstar. To anyone intoxicated by the Vegas lights and bass, it felt authentic. People left believing they'd just experienced one of the most exclusive club nights of their lives. Then the truth started to leak. Videos spread online, and sharper eyes noticed the inconsistencies. The voice didn't match. The face looked softer, fuller, and as fans compared clips side by side, the illusion collapsed. What made it worse was that the entire fiasco happened at Wynn, a brand that markets itself on exclusivity and perfection. Suddenly, their reputation was dragged into chaos. Guests demanded refunds after realizing they had paid thousands under false pretenses. Some tables had been sold for inflated prices on the promise of Bieber's presence. Instead of profit, the club ended up comping bills and losing face. Even their own DJ, Griffin, was fooled. He had hyped the moment, cheered on the performance, and only realized the truth when the fake Bieber left the building. Later, he admitted he felt completely embarrassed. Social media had a field day dragging him for being duped, and clips of him praising Dylan went viral. For a luxury brand like Wynn, it was more than just cringe. It was a full-scale PR nightmare. Insiders say several staff members were fired in the aftermath, with management furious over the lapse. The deeper people dug, the stranger the story became. This wasn't Dylan's first rodeo. He'd been pulling the fake Bieber act for years, particularly in Europe, where smaller venues and local shows introduced him as if he were the real thing. He had built an entire identity out of mimicry, inking his skin with tattoos identical to Bieber's, even ones connected to Justin's past relationships. It wasn't cosplay anymore, it was obsession. To copy someone's style is one thing. To permanently etch their personal milestones onto your own body is something else entirely. That obsession spilled over into the public eye in unsettling ways. At one point, Dylan was spotted on the subway, dressed in full Bieber gear, and the clip went viral. Hailey Bieber herself responded with two chilling words: "I'm scared." For Justin's own wife to react with genuine unease says everything. It wasn't just fans laughing at a bad impersonation anymore. It was the uncomfortable reality of someone blurring the line between homage and identity theft. The internet, of course, tore it apart. Brutal comments flooded in. People joked that even their elderly relatives looked more like Bieber than Dylan did. Others said he resembled a mashup of Justin Bieber and Liam Payne. Some went further, drawing disturbing comparisons to infamous figures like Chris Watts. Reddit threads mocked Hailey for constantly trying to prove her husband was still attractive, with fans accusing her of feeding into the obsession by posting photos that unintentionally fueled comparisons between Justin and his imitator. While the online mockery was savage, the legal world wasn't laughing. Dylan wasn't just dressing like Bieber, he was profiting off his name. Clubs were raising prices, advertising his supposed presence, and taking in huge sums before being exposed. That isn't just embarrassing, it's fraud. Wynn responded by slapping Dylan with a lifetime ban from all their properties, effectively exiling him from one of the biggest stages in Las Vegas. But the damage had already been done. Lawsuits are now looming, with lawyers circling both Dylan and the promoters who played along with the ruse. Fans want their money back, and venues want to avoid being the next headline, yet Dylan shows no signs of stopping. Instead of disappearing, he's doubled down. His TikTok following hovers around 30,000, and clips of him strutting through malls with his fake security still rack up views. He continues performing watered-down Bieber sets, complete with stage mannerisms and half-sung lyrics. Under dim lights and blaring speakers, some people still fall for it, even if only for a moment. The more the internet calls him out, the more his name spreads, and in today's culture, infamy is a kind of currency. The truly unsettling part is how far he's willing to take it. He doesn't just replicate the surface. He studies the way Justin nods his head, the smirk he flashes in the middle of a performance, even the way he grips a microphone. Without the tattoos, the act might collapse instantly, but with them, he buys himself just enough credibility to make people question what they're seeing. That doubt is all he needs to sell the lie, and for a while it's been working. Meanwhile, Justin has been living his own life, posting photos with friends, golfing, and spending time with what fans jokingly call his hippie crew. Rumors swirl constantly about his private relationships, and Hailey continues to navigate the never-ending comparisons online. Every new post of the real Justin seems to spark debate about whether he looks like himself or his impersonator. The lines keep blurring, and Dylan only benefits from the confusion. The consequences, though, are closing in. Legal experts have already suggested Dylan could be hit with charges of false advertising and fraud. Promoters who knowingly sold tables based on the rumor of Bieber's presence could face liability, too. Even guests are demanding accountability, furious that they shelled out thousands for what turned out to be karaoke night with a knockoff. The situation has become more than just entertainment. It's a case study in how dangerous impersonation can be when it crosses into profit and deception. Some see Dylan as a desperate hustler clinging to borrowed fame. Others call him a walking lawsuit, waiting to drag down any venue foolish enough to give him a stage. Either way, he's proof that in today's world, where clout equals currency, even a counterfeit star can find an audience. The more people laugh, the more he grows. The more people get angry, the more headlines he makes. And that leaves the story on a darker note. This isn't like drag queens doing Britney Spears impressions for fun, or Elvis impersonators in Vegas who openly admit they're just paying tribute. Dylan doesn't introduce himself as an impersonator. He acts like he is Justin. He tricks crowds, confuses fans, and blurs the line between cosplay and con. It's not just embarrassing, it's unsettling. So the question becomes, where's the line? At what point does imitation stop being entertainment and start becoming theft of identity? For Justin, one of the most recognizable figures in the world, it's more than a nuisance. It's a threat. Someone else is out there living pieces of his life, profiting off his name, and leaving behind confusion wherever he goes. And while fans might laugh and scroll past the memes, the consequences for Dylan, and for anyone who gets fooled, are just beginning. Would you laugh it off if someone was out there pretending to be you? Or would you feel robbed, knowing that strangers were buying into a lie that used your face, your style, your reputation? That's the question this entire fiasco leaves hanging. For now, Dylan remains a shadow Bieber, entertaining to some, disturbing to others but impossible to ignore. And in today's world of viral chaos, maybe that was his plan all along.